Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
I love the great outdoors. Not really, but everybody says I should. I still don't like my idea of the great outdoors is actually experiencing it through a computer screen. And I'm fine with that. You may not be, and that's fine, especially if you want to take any pictures outside. You might need these top 5 tips for outdoor photography, as submitted by Henry Slavanak, also known as Eats a Lot, in the chat room at live.pirillo.com and likely on YouTube as well. Hey Chris, just figured I'd send you another top 5. I made the tips longer so you wouldn't have to improvise as much. I hope they help you. Thank you, and good night. Number 1, digital cameras don't like nature. Pixels don't treat all objects equally. One of the worst things to photograph with a digital camera is a tree. If your camera can capture 1,000,000 pixels and your subject tree contains a few 100,000 leaves, you'll end up with only 3 or 4 pixels per leaf, and the whole image will smear together in a big gummy mess. The same goes for lush lawns, bountiful gardens, distant mountains, hairy surfaces. Hairy surfaces in the great outdoors? Where the heck does he live? And just about any other subject with scads of intricate details. For the best results, shoot only clearly defined subjects that have smooth, distinct outlines. People photograph well, as do cars, buildings, furniture, and most man-made objects. In short, stick to obvious foreground subjects that stand out sharply from their backgrounds. Number 2, get in close. Do your photos look like they were taken from a satellite in space? This can happen if you don't properly frame the picture. With a digital camera, the distance between the subject of the shot and the camera means you end up taking about 15 pixels in the center of the image. Because pixels are precious, it's important to devote as many as possible to the picture subject. When photographing a person, for example, turn on the LCD and close in until his or her image fills the screen. Don't take the shot until you see the whites of their eyes. Not only that, but you might think about using macro. And I threw that little bonus tip in there, but if your camera has a little flower on it, looks like a little rose or a little tulip, that's usually macro mode, which means you can get in really close. And I've got some amazing shots of Mother Nature. I've got an awesome picture of a dragonfly that I took up close that I took in a macro mode. So I'm going to throw that in there because he didn't. Macro is awesome with nature. With flowers and leaves, so cool. Number 3, avoid the extremes. Extreme temperatures can do a real number on your digital camera and its batteries. Don't leave your equipment in direct sunlight for hours at a time. You can protect it by covering up with light-colored or reflective material. If you do leave your camera in the car, make sure the sun won't be moving into a position where it will cook your vehicle's contents. In really cold weather, place your camera in a large sealed plastic bag when you head outside. The temperature inside the bag will drop gradually, thus preventing a rapid climate change and the ill effects of condensation and frost on the inside of your equipment. Once your camera is cooled, pop it out of the bag, or heat it up, I should say. Pop it out of the bag and start shooting. So that's kind of I guess, an extension of our discussion yesterday on being careful with the cold temperatures in your camera. Number 4, view to a killer shot. It's usually best to shoot with the sun behind you to make sure your subject is well lit. The problem is that an LCD screen can be very hard to see in bright sunlight, so be sure to purchase a camera that also includes a viewfinder. Otherwise, you may shoot up. You may end up shooting blindly. I didn't mean to say that. Anyway, another benefit of not relying heavily on the LCD screen: longer battery life. Now, the addendum to that is if there are pieces of plastic that you can pick up at photography stores that will attach to the back of your camera and flip up. So it's like a shield, not only for your LCD screen, but also like a sun shield, so that, well, it does. It looks like this. It's I don't know what they call them necessarily, but they flip up and flip down so that you can have a digital camera, and it allows you to use the LCD as a viewfinder if your camera has a really junky viewfinder, or if it even has a viewfinder at all. So there is cheap stuff that you can pick up at photography stores to help with that. Number 5, and this is another one that we've talked about, so I'm going to kind of brush over this quickly. Using the flash in backlit conditions. Say there's no choice. You have to take a picture and you're facing into the sun, or you're facing into a lot of brightness, then you definitely want to use the flash even in broad daylight. Underscore that, because otherwise your foreground is going to be completely washed out, and you're going to need to do an artificial fill flash. And if you don't use a real flash when you actually take the picture, you'll have to do an artificial one when you're editing the photo in your computer or online or wherever you happen to be editing that photo. So Henry, or Eats a Lot, is that like Sir Eats a Lot? I don't know. Anyway, I appreciate the top 5 tips for outdoor photography. I'm sure Ponzi will appreciate these as well. She's trying to do a photo of the day on lockergnome.com/observer. She's gunning for that right now, so I'm trying to be as supportive as possible in doing photography tips. If anybody else out there has any type of top 5 tips to pass along, as long as they're well written and we haven't covered this subject before or too much, I'd love to share them with the rest of the community. My email address is chris@pirillo.com. And, if you want to join the people over down in this general area over here, those are the chat room people over here underneath my dancing fingers, and over there that's the sponsor logos that rotate through for the videos. If you want to join us in chat, we're open 24 hours a day, and we're usually talking about technology. You never really know what it is that we're going to talk about, or who's going to be on camera, because sometimes some of our chat room regulars will pop up in the live stream, because we're streaming this out on the web live. The video, the audio, the everything, the chat, everything is just happening right now. In fact, there are 395 people watching this live video right now on a Friday night at 10:30 p.m. as opposed to Friday night at 10:30 a.m. I don't know where I was going with that. But anyway, if you want to stop by, I think that so many people were talking, it locked up chat, as it's prone to do when a lot of people talk at the same time. We've got a very popular chat room. In fact, it's so popular, I don't even know if we can squeeze you in there right now. Can we? You think we can? You think we can squeeze them in there? We'll see. The only way to find out is by stopping by, and that's by opening your web browser and going to live.pirillo.com. We'll see you later.